Maricruz Magowan, Vice President of the National Economist Club, joins us here in the studio of Biz Asia America. Thank you very much. This is a fascinating story because it's not the first time it's been brought up, as we talked about earlier. What do you think of the plan thus far?
Well, I think it's late. I think they should have been doing this years ago. First, this is not an organization that lives from appropriations 100% like other federal agencies. They have their own income. They are supposed to be run like a business. Any business that they started having the kind of losses they were having, they should have stopped, halt, and immediately readdress the way they are doing things. And they didn't do that. The internet is here. That's not something that it's going to change. People are not going to continue communicating, sending letters. They are using the email. They are using the internet. Still, they have.
You're saying it's long overdue, this whole change.
Exactly. It's long overdue. I am surprised that still there are people in Congress that don't agree with that, that they want to wait another 2 years. They lost about $16 billion just last year. They are expecting to lose the same amount of more in this fiscal year.
Well, you brought up something that I think is very interesting, because you said the word government and business together, and
yes.
They're two very separate things. It's obviously not being run like a business like a Federal Express or a private company. You mentioned $16 billion a year. So I understand what they're going to save. They're going to save a couple $1 billion with these changes in terms of Saturday delivery.
Mm-hmm.
But they're losing $16 billion, so there's still a good $13, $14 billion that needs to be cut. What's going to happen to that?
They need to stop being so timid. They have to be more aggressive. They have to really think as if they are in the private sector, because that's the way they were supposed to run that business. It was a business. They had an authorization to receive no more than $460 million per year through appropriations like any other agency. But all the other expenses that they have, like that heavy load that they have in social services, medical services, payment for the retirees, they are supposed to find the money for that, or otherwise change the way they do it.
Just healthcare alone is $5 billion a year.
Yes.
Are they going to fix that?
Well, hopefully they will. I really hope that Congress is not going to stop them from amending what they are doing, from changing, and more than anything, from adapting. In science, we say, you know, species that don't adapt perish. That is how I will summarize what is happening in the Postal Service.
At the end of our discussion with Karina Huber in New York, we mentioned 500,000 workers, 521,000 to be exact. Now, some of those will get furloughed, some roles won't get replaced, so that headcount will come down. How big of an impact do you think there will be over the next 2 or 3 years if this plan moves forward at the end of this year? How many jobs could be lost?
Well, they are going to see job losses. There's something that I don't think they can avoid. But on the other hand, these people could be retrained. They could live in other areas. They could work in other areas. They could do something else that this country needs, something more productive.
I mean, we're talking like 50 or 100,000 jobs, perhaps?
They will have to. They will have to. This is a large country. This is also a global economy. There's no reason not to think beyond the United States.
You mentioned that the agency needs to change itself to be more of a private company. What specifically do you mean by that? I mean, what you have ideas that you would give the post office?
Exactly. Everything they do, it has to be based on cost-benefit analysis. They have to see how much revenue they are getting, and according to the revenue, like any private company, that is how you decide how much you are going to pay, how much are you going to deserve the money to cost. Cost-benefit analysis, they are not doing that.
Just quickly, for our viewers around the world, you know, this is not the first time this topic has been brought up. In fact, it's been brought up a number of times over the past few years. Why is it taking so long to fix this one problem?
Because unfortunately, it's a government agency. And the entire government, this is something really that shows that all agencies, not only the Postal Service, should be doing things differently. We have a very large debt, over $16 trillion. And one of the reasons we have that debt is not only the Social Security, the Medicare, the Medicaid, it's also there's a lot of waste in the government. Government has to be smaller, government has to be efficient, and every agency has the responsibility not to spend more than they should.
Maricruz, thank you.
You're welcome.